The pen trembled in my hand, its tip hovering over the crisp white page like a guillotine poised to fall. The prenup stared up at me, its sterile legalese a cold slap against the warmth of our 2-year engagement. For the protection of both parties, it read, but the words felt like a blade pressed to my throat. I glanced at Elise, her eyes fixed on the document, her lips pressed into a thin, expectant line. The air in our cozy Brooklyn apartment, once fragrant with her lavender candles, now reeked of something sharper, distrust, maybe, or something worse. My stomach churned, a sickening twist that told me this moment wasn't just about money. "Sign it, Nate," she said, her voice soft but edged with impatience, like a teacher scolding a slow student. Her manicured fingers tapped the mahogany table, each click a countdown to a choice I wasn't ready to make. I wanted to trust her. God, I did. But the clause buried on page 7. In the event of dissolution, all assets acquired post-marriage revert to the primary earner, screamed Betrayal. I wasn't the primary earner. She was. Her tech startup had skyrocketed, while my freelance photography barely kept me afloat. This wasn't protection. This was a trap. I set the pen down, its clatter against the table louder than I intended. Why this clause, Elise? My voice cracked, betraying the storm inside me. If we're partners, why does it feel like you're planning for me to lose everything? Her hazel eyes flickered, a fleeting shadow crossing them before she softened her expression. It's just standard, Nate. My lawyer insisted. You know how they are. She reached for my hand, her touch warm but rehearsed, like an actor hitting their mark. It's not about us. It's about security. Security. The word tasted like ash. I pulled my hand away, my gaze drifting to the framed photo on the shelf. Us at Coney Island, her laughing as I smeared ice cream on her nose. That Elise felt like a ghost now. The woman before me was a stranger, her smile a mask I couldn't read. I wanted to believe her, to chalk this up to paranoia, but the unease had been building for months. Late-night calls she'd step outside to take. The way her phone was always face down now. The sudden work trips that left no trace on her calendar. Small things, easily explained, but they'd piled up like pebbles before a landslide. I need time, I said, standing abruptly, the chair scraping against the hardwood floor. Her face tightened, a flash of something, anger? Fear, before she nodded. Fine, take the night. She stood too, smoothing her silk blouse, her movements too precise, too controlled. But we need to finalize this before the wedding. You get that, right? I nodded, though my chest felt like it was caving in. I grabbed my jacket and stepped into the humid July night, the city's pulse, car horns, distant laughter, mirroring the chaos in my head. I walked aimlessly, the prenup's words looping in my mind. Primary earner. Dissolution. Why was she preparing for the end before we'd even begun? My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Marcus, my best friend since college. Meet me at the Rusty Anchor. Got something you need to see. My gut twisted again, sharper this time. Marcus wasn't one for cryptic messages. I hailed a cab, the city lights blurring past as dread settled into my bones. The bar was dim, its air thick with the scent of stale beer and fried onions. Marcus sat in a corner booth, his face grim, a manila envelope in front of him. He didn't look up as I slid into the seat across from him. You're not going to like this, he said, sliding the envelope toward me. My fingers hesitated, the paper cool and heavy under my touch. Inside were photos, grainy but unmistakable. Elise in a hotel lobby, her arm linked with a man I didn't recognize. Another shot, them in a car, her hand on his thigh. A third, her laughing, her head tilted back, his lips brushing her neck. My vision swam, the bar's low hum fading to a dull roar in my ears. Heartbreak didn't feel like this. This was something worse, a gut punch of rage and humiliation, mingled with the ache of a love I'd thought was unbreakable. Who is he? My voice was a stranger's, low and raw. Her CFO, Derek Vaughn. Marcus said, his eyes steady but filled with pity. I hired a PI after you told me about her late nights. I didn't want to be right. I stared at the photos, each one a shard of glass in my chest. I wanted to scream, to tear them apart, but all I could do was sit there, drowning in the weight of it all. Elise, my Elise, who'd whispered promises of forever, was building a life with someone else. The prenup wasn't about protecting her wealth. It was about ensuring I'd walk away with nothing when she left. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I asked, my voice breaking. Marcus leaned forward, his jaw tight. I wanted proof. You'd have rationalized it otherwise. You always do with her. He was right. I'd ignored every red flag, every gut instinct because I loved her. Even now, part of me wanted to run to her, to demand an explanation, to believe she could make this right. But the photos didn't lie. The prenup didn't lie. She'd been planning her exit, and I was the fool who'd almost signed his life away. I left the bar, the envelope tucked under my arm like a grenade. The walk back to our apartment felt like a funeral procession, each step heavier than the last. When I opened the door, Elise was on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked up, her smile faltering as she saw my face. Nate, what's wrong? I dropped the envelope on the coffee table, the photos spilling out like a confession. Her eyes widened, her breath catching, but she didn't speak. She didn't need to. The guilt was written in the tremble of her hands, the way her gaze darted away. Derek Vaughn, I said, my voice steady now, cold. How long? She opened her mouth, then closed it, tears welling in her eyes. It's not what you think, she whispered, but the words were hollow, a script she hadn't rehearsed well enough. Don't. I held up a hand, my anger a living thing now, clawing at my chest. You wrote a prenup to screw me over. You've been screwing him. Don't insult me with lies. Nate, I love you, she started, but I was already moving toward the bedroom, grabbing my duffel bag. Her voice followed, desperate, cracking. Please, let's talk. I didn't mean for this to happen. I zipped the bag, my heart a war zone of grief and fury. The wedding's off, I said, turning to face her. Her face crumpled, but I felt no pity, only the sharp sting of clarity. You wanted security, Elise? You've got it. You're free. I walked out, the door slamming behind me, the sound echoing like a gunshot. The city swallowed me whole, its noise a dull roar against the silence in my chest. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew one thing. I'd never sign my soul away again.